Welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live for this Thursday. It's December 5th of 2024. I'm Dan Ramey with Aaron Glandon back with us again today here on this edition of the program.
And my grandma just texted me and said, is the show on right now? I said,
yes,
we had a little bit of a late start.
Well, we had a little bit of a late start yesterday as well, but we'll be back on track before too long.
These things happen.
They certainly do. Some things that are out of our control. Coming up in a moment, news. We've got a lot of it today, more than I think we've had in quite some time.
Yes.
So many things to share with you in just a bit. So stick close for news, sports, and this date in history. Plus, we'll also announce this week's Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. That's coming up in sports. But first, let's take a look at how our weather is shaking out. We're shivering as we go outside. Colder. Snow showers coming to an end today. High about 25 degrees. Back into the upper teens for overnight lows tonight. And then back to sunshine. And 33 for Friday. We'll warm up to highs of 50 by Sunday.
Ooh.
I learned a trick from some of the folks from the Litter Quality Propane office building. When this time of the year comes around, they'll park over in the sunshine. And the reason I did that this morning is because my window was frozen and my rear passenger side door was also frozen. I couldn't get them loosened, so I thought I'll set it in the sunshine and see what happens.
There we go.
So
when I got to my car this morning, there was a little bit of snow on the back windshield, but there was like no snow on the ground.
Is that right? We had a dusting down in Pike County, and there were several areas of black ice on the new pavement of 772. So when you're thinking, hey, it looks clear, and then suddenly it's like, whoop, it's not clear.
Yeah.
That's ice. So be careful with where you drive out and about in the ice, and that's something that we always seem to forget about. So
I'm just waiting for the point where, because usually I leave my house pretty soon after I take a shower, and I'm waiting for the point that my hair turns to ice, because that happens every year.
Yeah. And it's like when you're working outside or whatever, and your nose is running and it freezes to your mustache.
That's the worst.
And you don't know that it's there. That makes it even worse. Yeah. All right, coming up, a look at news. That's on the way next. But first, Scioto Valley Dumpsters, 740-253-8389 is the number to call if you've got a need for a dumpster. They can take care of that. Give them a call now, 740-253-8389.
As a basketball coach and a dad, I need to be able to keep up.
Mark came to the Adina Orthopedic and Spine Institute in severe arm pain from a degenerative disc.
I was so confident in Dr. Fleming, he explained everything.
Together, they decided on minimally invasive spinal surgery to relieve Mark's pain and get him back to what matters most. At Adina, we do what we love, so you can too.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
Whenever I first applied for the ArchWiz opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Like, is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, like to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
Each week, we'll announce the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. And in December, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Nominate any amateur athlete by visiting littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. You'll also see the players we've named throughout the year. Make your nomination today for the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. Some of what we'll share with you today is available on our website, littermedia.com, but A good bit of it also on our social media channels, which you can find up in the right-hand corner of the screen at littermedia.com. And you'll be able to hear it later today as well on Litter Media Radio. Let's start with the Ross County Christian Academy Superintendent, Dr. Valerie Jones. She's been advocating with legislators for private education the last several weeks, and she attended the Policy Circles Day at the Capitol and had a chance to meet and speak with Governor Mike DeWine. She also testified before the Senate Education Committee concerning Senate Bill 311.
Union Scioto Schools is working with the community to bring a message of hope for those needing a second chance from the life of addiction. Few speakers resonate like Damon West. Damon will be in Chillicothe for appearances on December 19th and the 20th. West is a testament to the power of second chances and has a story that will resonate deeply with anyone who's ever faced adversity. His message is to be a coffee bean. Just like a coffee bean dropped in hot water can transform a bitter cup into something uplifting, we all have the power to overcome challenges and inspire those around us.
It should be a really cool event. Again, that's coming up the 19th and 20th at Unioto Schools. The Marketplace Journey to the King opens tonight at Tabernacle Baptist Church and runs through Saturday evening. Performances are scheduled for 6 to 8 p.m. You'll find our interview with Tabernacle's Sean Callner, who's producing the event, on our YouTube channel if you need a little refresher about what this three-night performance will be about. Also on the Litter Media YouTube channel, our conversation with our buddy Paul Pollard with Rock for Tots, which is tomorrow night. Tickets for the 40th annual concert auction, which benefits more than 30 children's charities, are available at the door of the Majestic Theater for just $10.
I'm going to go back a little bit because you skipped the Rudolph run that we were going to talk about.
I certainly did.
I didn't go stand in the cold not to show this footage on the show. And there were a lot of people there. I have no idea how many because I'm not good at estimating numbers, but I would say well over 100.
Well, Tiffany Baldwin told us when she was here about a week ago that they had somewhere around 200 at that point in time, or a little over 200.
You'll see a shot of the runners running by, and you tell me what you think. And it wasn't too cold. I think it was in the 40s, but it was windy, and the wind just kept picking up.
The wind changed a lot of things. That's for sure. I haven't seen them start off with a banner like that before. That's pretty cool.
So how many people do you reckon this is?
I would say at this point
this goes
in time,
on for a while.
We're looking at about 150 right now, my early guesstimates. And, well, so it's more than that.
Yeah. I thought this was cute. This was the last people going by, and you see the little girl pulling the wagon.
Yeah. I've been involved with this Rudolph Run for, almost every year in some fashion. This used to be a fundraiser for Southern Ohio survivors. And then it was given to downtown Chillicothe, Ohio.
Right.
And now the money is raised from this event goes to additional lights going south on Paint Street through downtown for the Christmas season.
Okay.
And Shine On Chillicothe handles up to Water Street. And then from Water Street on, it's all downtown Chillicothe and the businesses for doing all the lighting and everything there. So good cause for the Rudolph Run and Glow Walk.
The Chillicothe Civic Theatre is presenting Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat next weekend at the Majestic Theatre. We'll have a special edition of Litter Media live tomorrow afternoon, and you said at 4 p.m.?
4 p.m. tomorrow, yes.
With representatives from the Chillicothe Civic Theatre to tell us more about the production.
Looking forward to that. Little Blessings Incorporated made an $800 check presentation to the Chillicothe Police Department's DARE program. It's the Fill a Cruiser Toy Drive is what it's benefiting the DARE program. You'll see pictured there Corinne Woods and DARE officer Tim Boltonhouse. And you can see our interview with both Woods and Boltonhouse on our YouTube channel. You can make donations of new, unopened toys for kids ages 0 through 12 at Rural King, Tractor Supply, Dollar Tree, all here in Chillicothe, Cavalier Athletic Center, Dollar General over on East Main Street in Chillicothe, the YMCA of Ross County, and Adina Rehab and Wellness Center out on Shawnee Lane, right by behind Golden Corral in that area. Right through December 15th, they'll also accept boxes of diapers. So it's good to catch up with Corinne. She has been involved with Little Blessings since she was just a little tiny. I mean, she's not tall, but I mean, by age-wise, she's now a senior in college at Shawnee State. I've known her since she was in the first or second grade, and she's always doing something. In fact, I asked her during the interview, what are you doing these days? And she explains all that's still going on with Little Blessings. So she's focusing a lot of things on the Portsmouth area, but she wanted to participate in something here back home again. And she'll be starting her doctorate over at OU in Athens.
Wow.
After she graduates this spring. So she says, I hope to make an impact over there in that part of wherever I go, I try to make an impact. So congratulations on and the DARE program receiving that $800, and they're challenging other people to match that if you want to. So help out with the DARE program.
Do you know what DARE stands for?
Help me remember.
I don't remember.
Drugs, something are no good.
Yes.
That's not the actual thing. I can't remember. You asked me too quickly.
I'm sorry. I don't remember. I was asking you because I don't remember.
Golly.
I remember having a DARE program.
Well, see, we didn't have a DARE program when I was in school. And the first DARE I had ever heard about was when Larry Cox early on was starting the program. And it may have started before then, too. I don't know. But people are watching right now. They're screaming at their...
Let's see if we have any comments.
Yeah, well...
Nothing yet.
In the meantime, I'll take a look at Google and find out for you.
You can Google it while I tell the listeners about our next story.
I'm doing that right now.
Pastor Brad Jones and Vonda Lotz from Living Water CCCU in Kingston stopped in to talk about their inaugural production of Christmas in Bethlehem in the park in Kingston. Vonda is the producer for the event and shares what visitors will experience.
When people first arrive to Christmas in Bethlehem, they're going to be greeted by a very festive area. It's going to be set up like Christmas time. We're going to have lights, hot chocolate, going to have some cookies, a little wooden craft for the kids, and of course Santa Claus. So it wouldn't be the same without him.
Right.
When they line up to enter Bethlehem, they're going to be given just a little gold coin. That coin is something that they're going to have to use to pay their tax when they do enter Bethlehem. So they'll enter, and at that point, all the lights are off. I mean, there's just, going to be some very subtle, natural candle lighting, and they will have to sign the census when they walk in. They will be paying the tax collector their tax. And then they walk into, it's a very immersive experience where they will have the sights, the sounds, the smells, and even get to taste parts of Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
The event runs from 6 to 9 p.m. on Saturday night.
And interesting, after we had this conversation, they were telling me about how this will transition into Easter season come April. And those nails that they were talking about making and the signs of the crosses as they're heading out of what you'll see in Kingston this Saturday night is kind of like, here's why the Christ child came. And then they're working on a production for Easter.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
That marries together there. Dr. Jason Link, pastor of Chillicothe's First Presbyterian Church, says their long-running cookie walk is this Saturday, 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. A few years ago, they added a craft show.
You don't have to walk around for cookies. There'll be literally thousands of homemade cookies up on a couple tables at the front of our fellowship hall. And you'll be able to take one of these and two of those or five of these or three of these, whatever you want. We sell those cookies by the pound, $8 a pound for those homemade cookies. It saves you from having to make the cookies, and it also gives you, maybe a greater variety of cookies than what you would want to make at home and make a whole batch of. You can make a couple of these and get a couple of these, couple of those. So that's the cookie walk portion of it. And like probably 40 years that the church has been doing that cookie walk. A lot of great bakers within our congregation that sign up to bring those cookies.
I'm trying to picture the aroma.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Cookies are $8 per pound, as he mentioned a moment ago. First Presbyterian Church is on Meade Drive on the south side of Carlisle Hill.
Also on Saturday is the Mount Logan Winter Bazaar, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Mount Logan School on East Main Street. Crafters, music, and Santa, of course.
And he really gets around because Pioneer School will host Santa. This is Santa Night, December 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. Visit with Santa during the event, which is open to the public. Refreshments will be served, and I want to know what it's like to try and book Santa.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Kinsey because I know he's coming to roast soon.
Ah, okay. So you're going to be there too.
Maybe.
You know you're going to be there. Your fiance works there.
That's true. I think that's this Sunday.
Ah, okay. So he's all over the place.
He is all over the place.
Always watching.
Always watching. You can learn techniques to create unique holiday cards to send to loved ones this holiday season during workshops at the Chillicothe Ross County Public Library Main Library Annex tonight at 6 p.m. and again on December 14th at 11 a.m.
There's an open house on Saturday, December 14th at the Pickaway County Historical Society Clark May Museum. They'll be featuring the artwork of Stuart Jones at a public event, and that'll take place 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on December 14th.
And if you find yourself in Lancaster, any day this month, they have an Advent window walk. Every day there will be a new window that lights up, and you can go see it. It's a living Advent calendar in Lancaster, and I think that's a really neat idea. I think this is the first U.S. living Advent calendar like this.
Oh, really?
Yes. When I was talking to Joseph Taylor the other day in an interview you can find on our Spotify, he said that this is something he borrowed from European traditions, but it's never really been done in America before.
Interesting. And you can hear the interview on our Spotify?
Yes, you can.
And can you read a story on this on our website?
You can read a story about it on our website.
Very good. So I had yet to check that out. So I'm slacking. Either that or doing too much other stuff.
Yeah.
So
and our road report today. The return of the road report. Ohio Department of Transportation District 9's Planning Department is seeking public input for a bridge replacement project on Township Road 230 in Jackson County. It is proposed to replace the bridge at the 3.09 mile mark in Jackson County, located in a rural area of Liberty Township.
Good to bring the road report back whenever we need to.
I missed it.
Yes. We should tell you that we did take a look at what DARE stands for. It's Drug Abuse Resistance Education. Again, the program was after I left school, and drugs were a thing when I was in school, but it wasn't to the level that it had become when they came up with this program.
Right.
So, yeah, because like in 1980, I think outside of the harshest thing that you could get would be marijuana. And then heroin started becoming a thing.
Cocaine.
And then cocaine made its way into America, and then everything went crazy in that respect. All right, coming up in just a bit, a look at sports for you. But first, let's tell you about Haynes Total Healthcare Center. You know, they happen to have a new copy for their commercials. So let me pull that up. It just came to me this morning. And here we go. Since 1974, Haynes Total Healthcare has been proudly serving the Chillicothe community and surrounding counties, providing exceptional care to over 50,000 patients every year. Whether you're seeking chiropractic care, physical therapy, or nutritional guidance, we've got you covered. From athletes to seniors and from pediatrics to geriatrics, we treat patients of all ages, helping you live pain-free, stay active, and feel your best. With a place in the top 1% of the clinics nationwide, you can trust that you're in good hands. Haynes is open 6 days a week, ready to serve your family for years to come. Haynes Total Healthcare Center, where healing happens for every stage of life. Call for an appointment today or visit HaynesHealth.com. Are you looking for a beer that satisfies your thirst and love of country? Armed Forces Brewing Company brews beer for patriots. Celebrate freedom with every sip. Armed Forces Brewing Company. Freedom never tasted so good.
Wherever you are there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch just to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Download the Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
Life, it can get on top of you quickly, can't it? But with 211, it only takes one step to get connected to the help you need. 211 is always available to help. So get in touch today.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
It's time for sports.
Yes, and let's take a look at the sports scoreboard, which is available at littermedia.com.
Yes, Unioto in girls basketball takes Westfall 87-29. Miley Smith of Unioto had 37 points in that game. Adina beats Paint Valley 47-25. Huntington over Piketon 43-38. That's a close one. Southeastern over Zane Trace 36-25. In the FAC, Hillsborough 69, Chillicothe 48. Miami Trace over Jackson 49-30. And McLean beating Washington 50-23. You'll find other games, including non-conference games, on our website under high school scores.
Check that out. Also in sports, the Leonard Media Game of the Week is Westfall at Paint Valley this Friday night. I'll be with BJ Daly on microphone. You'll be on the floor.
Yes.
Taking photos and whatever video you might come up with. And so that is going to be our night at the Jigger.
Yes.
Yes. Speaking of Paint Valley, congratulations to Brooke Hammond. She's a three-sport athlete and 1998 graduate of Paint Valley and the newest member of the Paint Valley Athletic Hall of Fame. They will be inducting her January 24th at the basketball game against Zane Trace. So congratulations and welcome to the hall, as they would say. The Ohio High School Athletic Association Football State Finals open tonight in Canton as unbeaten Cincinnati Anderson and Avon square off in Division II. Now, it's only one game played today. Division 7, 3, and 1 play in that order on Friday. The remaining divisions play Saturday, including the Division 5 state game between Ironton and Liberty Center. That'll be at 3 p.m. The Ohio State men were thumped by Maryland in their Big Ten opener, 83-59. The Bucks were down by 33 points at halftime. That's where you pretty much say, okay, how do we get back into this one? Is there enough popcorn? Can we get the bus going so we can get out of here? Yeah. They will host Rutgers Saturday at noon. Cleveland Cavaliers wrap up a 3-game homestand tonight with the Denver Nuggets. The Blue Jackets are still in Canada. They're out west in Edmonton tonight. And it's time now for our Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. He is a repeat. Zane Trace grad and Otterbein senior Cam Evans. I forgot that he still had a year of eligibility.
Yeah.
I thought he graduated last year. Evans scored 31 points for the Cardinals in a win over Kenyon Saturday night. He has 1,313 points in his career at Otterbein. His previous career high was 29 points, and that was back in 2022. He's averaging 17.2 points per game through 5 games with the Cardinals this season. They are 3-2, and they'll travel up to Berea, Ohio this Saturday to take on Baldwin Wallace. So, again, congratulations, Cam Evans. And it's cool. I wish I would have put you onto this earlier, Aaron, when we were producing this package. If you take a look at Otterbein's website for the men's basketball page, you see a progression of pictures of Cam. Clean-shaven, longer hair his freshman year, and then each year he grows a little more hair and he becomes more of a man each year. So over the 5 years of his career, he's gone from this little young-looking high school kid to he's a man now.
Yeah. I wish my beard looked like that. That's awesome.
I don't know if I could handle a beard like that.
Mine doesn't grow out like that. It doesn't get much bigger than it is right now.
Yeah, I always keep mine trimmed, but I've got a buddy in church, and he looks like Methuselah. I mean, his beard comes down to here. It's fantastic. And another buddy at church, he runs all the time. Austin Mann is his name, but we call him ZZ because his beard is as long as ZZ Top. And in his Facebook profile picture, he's running and the beard is splitting and going over both shoulders.
My mom met ZZ Top one time.
Is that right?
Yes. I don't remember the circumstances, but she was staying in a hotel, and they got in the elevator with her, and she could tell it was them.
Yeah.
But they were wearing like sunglasses, and they were trying not to be noticed.
But how do you turn around and
Right.
say, "You're with ZZ Top, aren't you?"
Right. And they asked her where the swimming pool was.
So she had a true interaction.
Yes.
How about that? I recall Chip Arledge and I, here's a radio story for you. Way back in the 1980s, we got involved with at that time, what was called World Wrestling Federation. It's now WWE. But the promotional, the guy who was holding the promotional position for the WWF at the time was an OU grad. And so we had reached out to them because they made a lot of stops in Columbus at the time. And so we struck up this relationship. He would always send complimentary tickets to us to give away on the air. Well, we went one night backstage to go talk and say thank you. So the guys from the Greater Columbus Convention and Visitors Center allowed us to go back behind the curtain, and we're walking to the elevator. We get on the elevator, and we're going down a floor, and we're both looking at each other. And Chip was notorious for giggling, and he just giggled all the time. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and he was just giggling like, I can't believe we're behind the scenes.
Right.
And so as we're stepping off of the elevator, Jim Hacksaw Duggan has his big 2x4, and he's bouncing it on the floor, and he says, "Going up." And we get out of his way. He gets on the elevator, and he goes up. Well, we go back, and we talk with the guys back there. One of the British Bulldogs is hanging out by the pop machine, and it's almost like, hey, here's the belt. See you tomorrow night in Pittsburgh or wherever we're going next. And then on the way up, the Iron Sheik climbs on the elevator with us, and he's not saying a word. We're not saying a word, and we just rode, and he goes walking off. Now, a lot of these guys are involved with what Jimmy Hines and Bobby Fulton has done with the wrestling show, like what's going to be down in Waverly next weekend. So it's neat to get a chance to talk with someone who actually knew these people and did share stories like that. But that was probably one of the most uncomfortable elevator rides that I ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Was with celebrities like that. So the other one was with Paul Brown, who used to own the Cleveland Browns and or coach the Browns and own the Cincinnati Bengals. We were in an Ohio State game, and I was working the press box at the time, and he was there because they were honoring the 1942 national champions at halftime. I didn't know that, but I'm walking onto the elevator. It's he, myself, and his wife, and someone else. He's in one corner of the elevator, I'm in the other corner, and the women are just yammering back and forth, and he's not saying a thing. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and he's like, and then I thought, guy looks familiar. And then when they introduced them down I'm like, that's who it was, Paul Brown. I'm riding in the elevator with Paul Brown.
Wow.
So my wife had an elevator experience with Carson Palmer one time. We were in Cleveland for an optician's convention or whatever when she was in the eye doctor business. And Cincinnati was in Cleveland to play the Browns that weekend. And so I had gone on a trip with a friend of mine visiting Cleveland while she's at the convention.
Right.
Well, I'm back at the hotel room by now, and she says, I rode an elevator with some football player. I don't know who it was. I said, really? Well what describe him to me. I don't know. She said, we got on the elevator, and there were these cameras and everything following, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, this must be a major guy.
Right.
But she couldn't remember who it was. And so the next morning, the Sunday edition of the Cleveland Plain Dealer is laying outside our door of the hotel. on the front page is Carson Palmer, and she goes, "That's him." She got to ride with Carson Palmer. So
the moral of the story is, if you want to meet a famous person, just hang out in elevators.
Yeah, just ride an elevator. So, all right, coming up, this date in history, we're going to turn the clock back to 1945. Details next.
But first, we want to tell you about Litter Quality Propane, online all the time, customer payment, account information, and more. Log on at litterpropane.com.
Discover Ross County. From the breathtaking outdoor adventures to the historic sights of Chillicothe and family-friendly events and festivals. Explore more at visitchillicotheohio.com or download the free mobile app today.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance, on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. They've been doing this for 45 years now, taking care of the heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. And if you want to find out where they are to meet with your needs, simply log on to littermedia.com. Click on this ad anywhere you see it on our website, and it takes you right to their website, accuratehvac.com, for accurate heating, cooling, and plumbing. This date in history, we're going to tag team because this is kind of long, and we didn't do any editing to it. So we're going to.
Thanks, Mike Smith.
Yes, I will start with line 1. Are you ready? Okay.
Sure. What am I doing?
Line 2.
We really are alternating? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
So we're tag teaming here today. 1945 at 2:10 p.m., 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers comprising Flight 19 taking off from Fort Lauderdale's Naval Air Station in Florida on a routine 3-hour training mission.
They never returned.
By this time, several land radar stations finally determined that Flight 19 was somewhere north of the Bahamas and east of the Florida coast. And at 7:27 p.m., a search and rescue Mariner aircraft took off with a 13-man crew.
3 minutes later at 7:30 p.m., the Mariner aircraft radioed to its home base that the mission was underway.
The Mariner was never heard from again.
Later, there was a report from a tanker cruising off the coast of Florida of a visible explosion scene at 7:50 p.m.
The disappearance of the 14 men of Flight 19 and the 13 men of the Mariner led to one of the largest air and sea searches to that date, and hundreds of ships and aircrafts combined thousands of square miles of the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and remote locations within the interior of Florida.
No trace of the bodies or aircraft was ever found.
The lost squadron cemented the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. I've often, I don't know, I've never been to the Bahamas, but just the fact that the Bermuda Triangle apparently appears, I always fear trying to go to the Bahamas for disappearing, all because of this.
I think you'd be all right.
But I mean, cruise ships go through there all the time and everything. I mean, you'd think you'd be all right. But as I always told my son, behave yourself because Ramies always get caught. And I thought to myself, I think this goes back to when I think there were some horse thieves back in my generations of some time, many moons ago. But Ramies always get caught, and it would be my luck. We go to the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm.
And
the aliens would get you.
Yeah, precisely. I would be lost in space, so to speak.
I used to think when I was a kid that things like the Bermuda Triangle and like quicksand and whirlpools would be a much bigger problem in my everyday life than they are.
But then you see the sinkhole thing that happened with this elderly lady looking for her lost cat.
Yeah.
And that's scary because you never know. We've got many mines around here when something like that can happen. And I recall Water Street, which used to be part of the canal here in Chillicothe. there was a big dip just before you got to Walnut Street. And my fear was that, and because we've seen this happen in Florida, but even in New York City, where the street just disappears. And suddenly you're driving and there's nothing.
Right.
You sink down into it. So there's a lot of that still can happen. But that lady in the story, the reason it's so close to me is because she had a 5-year-old granddaughter that was left in the car while she went out to check on the cat. And that sinkhole happens, and she falls down in that. And I guess during the rescue efforts for this, when I heard they were putting all kinds of things to do what they could to keep it from caving in on her, but they were using some water to flush out some of the mud and everything. Part of it collapsed again. So last I heard, it was becoming a recovery mission as opposed to trying to find her and still be alive. But hate to end the show on a downer like that.
Yeah.
But it does happen. It does happen. All right, coming up here shortly, we will have another edition of Litter Media Live. I guess that's going to be in 24 hours or 23 and a half hours.
23 hours.
Yes. And
it's 12:07 right now.
Is it 12:07?
Yes. We've been going for 36 minutes.
Who'd have thought that we could stretch it out like that, huh?
Well, with the amount of news stories, it would have been impressive if we got it in under 30 minutes.
True. You never know what you're going to miss, so make sure you check Litter Media on our website, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, on our Spotify, on our Litter Media X, and Litter Media Radio. Check
all
it out
kinds
there.
of things.
Yes. Thank you so much for being a part of Litter Media today. We'll talk to you with another edition tomorrow here on Litter Media Live.